What's good? What's good? What's Gucci, y'all? What's up? This is your boy Jay Bernard, and we are back with the second episode of Destiny Moments. If you have not heard the first podcast, please go back and listen to it. It was super lit. I think that I made some ground-shattering points that will change your life forever. I just think that. I don't know. You be the judge. But yeah. So I kind of talked a little bit about myself. Y'all go back and listen to that. But this is the second episode. The goal of this podcast is to empower to empower people in this generation to continue to break generational curses. So all of my friends, a lot of my family members, just people that I know are becoming people that they've never seen before. And we have to overcome so many things in order to get there. And what I want to do with this podcast is introduce people to tools, to ways of thought, to help them and equip them to go and overcome these obstacles that are in their way as they become people they've never seen before. Because that's what we out here doing. That's what I'm out here doing. And we're going to do this together. That is what it is. So, yeah, episode 2. Here we go. So today's topic, I really want to talk about living a passive lifestyle. And not that we should do it, going against living a passive lifestyle. And when I say living a passive lifestyle, I mean you just let things kind of happen in your life. Or you don't really set too many goals. Or you're super nonchalant. And, you kind of don't care. You go on a whim. You go with the flow. And you do that all of the time. And I say that because I have been one of the biggest abusers of that. I've done that for a very long time. If you know me, everybody knows I'm super laid back and nonchalant. It takes a lot to bother me. Most things don't bother me in general. And that's how I live my life for a very long time. So if you heard the first episode, you know that I was very quiet in school. Growing up, I didn't have very many friends. And it kind of attributed to my nonchalant type attitude. So I was like, well, I ain't really got to do too much or say too much. I can kind of go with the flow. And that also led me to just kind of accept certain relationships or certain friendships in my life because I didn't really set a standard or any type of intentionality. So I remember once I got to college, I was definitely more exuberant and more outspoken and outgoing, and I was trying to become an extrovert. That was super tough for me, by the way. Oh my God, that's exhausting. Because I don't even want to talk to the people half the time, but I really worked hard to get out of my shell. So me doing that and kind of being very passive about my relationships, I found myself being friends with people, and I don't even know how we became friends. And I think the reason we became friends is just because they was there. I'm like, you eat lunch here too? I guess we're friends now. Or you're in the same class as me? You're black and you go to Texas A&M? Oh, I guess we're friends. And I didn't realize this until after I graduated. Because when I graduated college, I moved to California, and it kind of separated me from all ties, my family and my friends, and it separated me. And I was on the other side of what I call a big distraction from yourself, which is college. For me, that's one of my views on college. I love college. But one of the things that it does is, for me at least, it distracted me from myself. I was so busy with people and so busy with organizations, so busy with school that I never stopped and looked at me. I never had any mindful, true, thoughtful moment where I was like, okay, why are you doing what you're doing? Why is that person here? Why are you continuing to think this way? Why do you think that about yourself? Where'd that come from? Where'd that stem from? Why does it make you feel that way? I never asked myself any of those questions. And when I got out of school and I got separated from everything and everybody, it forced me to look at myself in the mirror and to look at everything that I was becoming and everything that I was, and realize that I had been accepting people, I had been accepting things, I had been accepting thoughts into my life just because I never put a standard against them, right? It's so easy for something to come into your life if you've never set a standard against it or you've never been intentional in that area. So as far as friends was concerned, like for the most part, like I was just cool with everybody. I was rocking with everybody in general. And it's almost like I just left open the door of my life and people were just walking all in. And it led to a lot of unintentional relationships and heartbreak. Like I'll get more into that story in some other episodes, but like just in unintentional relationships with women and just everybody, man. And it kind of left me broken because I was giving out so many pieces of myself and so much energy, and I didn't really realize I was doing it. And another area that I found myself being very, very passive was like with things that I aspired to do or like wanted to do. One of the biggest things, if like you know me, I'm a hooper. You know, I may got broke knees now, but back in the gap, I'm not that old, but these knees are broken. But back in the gap, man, I used to hoop hardcore, and one of my ultimate dreams was to, you know, NBA, typical kid, black kid from the inner city. That's all he's saying. Like I want the ball, right? I was super passive about wanting to play basketball. Like I worked very, very hard, but looking back on it, I never truly did the things that it took to be an NBA basketball player. I wasn't waking up every day and putting up 1,000 shots and dribbling and doing whatever and going to the camps and running and whatever. All these things that it might take for me to get there. I was super passive about it. I was the guy who's like, I'm gonna play AAU. It's gonna be dope, and I'm gonna wait for the coach to put me in. I'm gonna work really, really, really hard as much as I can, and I'm gonna wait for the coach to put me in. And then I'm gonna go play football. Then I'm gonna go run track. Then I'm gonna go hang out with I was super, super passive about it. I never set any type of intentional goal behind what I was trying to do. And then even when I first moved out here to LA, I remember, and it's still on my Instagram. I ain't gonna pull it down. I'm talking about it right now. I put out this crazy list of goals. I think it was for 2016 or 17. I don't know. But I put out this crazy list of goals that said all these things that I was going to accomplish and do. And I was like, oh, I was so hype about it. And then after I did that, and the year started going on, I'm like, wait a minute. None of these things are happening. That's because I was super passive about most of those things. Some of those things happened, but majority of those things did not happen because I realized I was arbitrarily saying things, but I wasn't intentionally putting the action behind those things. So I never actually sat down and say, okay, I want to do this. Now, what are the actionable steps that I need to take? How can I be proactive in this area to get there? And the real thing I realized, one, they were arbitrary. I was saying those things because they sounded good. They sounded nice. Like it sounds good to set goals and high goals and all these things because it looks good to post it and do all that. But it's one thing to back it up. And then two, I realized I was being passive about so many things. It's because it's very easy to not actually put actionable steps to something. Because once you start to put a goal and actionable steps to it, then there's a chance you might fail. And if you set a bar for success or intentionality with a relationship or a goal or something that you're aspiring to do, then there is now a measurement or metric that you have to live or aspire or work up to that if you don't hit, oftentimes it looks like failure. And it was fear. So with all these things that I was aspiring to do, aspiring to be, that I was passively going after and not really putting any type of solidified plan or goal to, was because I was secretly fearful. It wasn't even a secret. It wasn't a secret to me. I guess I just alluded it, right? Like I think we know a lot of these things about ourselves already, but we choose to ignore them like they don't exist. But guess what? I'm knocking on that right now, and I'm saying, hey, these things exist. So all these things in the back of your mind that you're ignoring, like they're not there, like you want to do something, but you want to do something, but you are so afraid to sit down and write a plan for it. Every time it's time for you to sit down and write a plan for it, you don't do it. What is that? that's the thing in the back of your mind that's scared. That's fear. Because once you write it down, it becomes real. It becomes really real. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't start my YouTube channel until like a year after God gave me the idea. Because God was like, okay, start this YouTube channel. I was like, nah. Then I was like, okay. I was like, maybe. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But I was passive about it. I never did it. And I never sat down and wrote out, okay, this is what my channel is going to be about. This is what I'm going to do. I never did that because it took me off the hook. I never had anything that said, I'm going to do it by this. I never put a date on it. I never really told that many people about it. And because I didn't do that, I didn't fail, right? At least in my mind. But that's the biggest failure. And I think that's a J. Cole line. He says, to never try is the ultimate fail. Like, he said that. I think that's the biggest failure right there. Not even trying, not even putting down a goal, not even aspiring to do anything. I think that's the biggest failure ever. I don't think it's failure at all if you say, hey, I'm going to be a doctor, and the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go to pre-med, I'm going to study, I'm going to do all these things, and you don't get in to your first medical school. I don't think that's failure at all. That's not failure. You didn't fail. You learned so much along the way. Now it's time for you to try another avenue. It's time for you to go through the back door. It's time for you to go through the side door. It's time for you to go through the roof. Like, whatever it is, I think just not trying is one of the biggest failures. And I think just being passive is one of the biggest attacks on your destiny, on your purpose, because living a passive lifestyle is living an unintentional lifestyle. And when you do that, you're pretty much saying the time I have, the goals I have, the dreams that I have, they aren't important enough for me to actually go after them with everything that I got. That's how I view it. And I've lived life like that for a very long time. And thank God I've been delivered from that. Like, I will no longer be like, oh, I think I might do that. Or like, oh, whatever comes is cool. No. Like, I don't do that no more. Like, when I see somebody that I think is dope, I'm like, oh, I want to be friends with that person intentionally, right? And when there's people that come at me and like, oh, Jerry, let's be friends, I'm like, who sent you? Why should we be friends? You want to kick it? Why you want to kick it? Like, I'm moving out in purpose. And when you start to do that, then you start to attract other people who are doing the same thing. And I think God starts to bring provision and everything else that comes along with that when we move purposeful and intentional. And we just can't do that no more. Like, if you're being casual about your dreams, you'll end up a casualty. And that's something, I think Les Brown said that or somebody said that, but I think that's true. Because that's not living at all. Because anybody can just go out there and be like a leaf blown everywhere. Because that's what it is. It's like you don't really set any goals for yourself. So if somebody says, hey, you should do this, you're like, cool. Or hey, we doing this, you're like, cool. There's never any true substance that comes from that. And I know that's kind of hyperbole, right? We're not just leaves out here. We have some type of goals, and everybody's not on the extreme end of the spectrum. But I ask you to look at certain areas of your life where you may be more passive. And I think a lot of us should do that with relationships. We just accept things because you're here or because we were friends for a very long time. I guess we're friends moving forward or like, I think a lot of us have blind loyalty and loyalty to a fault. So if it's passive in your relationships or passive with your dreams or your goals, you've been trying to lose weight for 10 years, the same 5 pounds, and that's real. And I know I'm skinny, but one of my biggest things has always been my fitness. You know how long I've been trying to get to 180? And now I'm starting to do that because I'm no longer passive about stuff I want to do. It's like, oh, I want to do this. I want to get to 180. I ain't doing nothing. Like, I ain't working. I ain't trying to say, hey, what calories should I be eating? Like, what type of balance should I have? No, I wasn't doing that. And I can no longer be friends with people who say they're going to do something, and then after a month, 2 months, 3 months, it's just excuses. How many excuses do you have? I mean, golly. The thing is, I do have grace and mercy for people because we are going through a lot of things, and I've been there. But it comes a point where you have to truly look yourself in the mirror and say, what is really holding me back? What is really stopping me? Why am I so passive about what God is telling me to do? Why am I so passive when it comes to doing things for myself? Because a lot of us aren't passive when it comes to helping other people or being there for other people. Like, prime example, somebody say, hey, I need help doing this on this day. We show up, we support, we cheer, we the biggest cheerleader. We supporting everybody else's dreams and goals and ambitions, and there's a space for that. But I think it's almost a cop-out if that's all you're doing, because I was doing that for a minute too. Like here in LA, I was acting in people's stuff, like I was producing, I was doing all types of stuff helping people. But it was a cop-out. Because it was so much easier to say, oh, I'm helping this other person and I'm doing this for these other people, but I was never doing anything that God told me to do. I was doing all of that, giving all of that, and then I go home and I had to look at my dreams or something God told me to do, and it's still exactly where it was in my head when God gave it to me. Or the note section in your phone. The note section in your phone is the devil, personally. Like, I don't know. I don't know if y'all like me, but I write a lot of my ideas down in my phone, in my notes section, or things that I want to do, concepts, videos, whatever. And for a while, they were staying in my phone. I don't know if that's you. So if that's you, I challenge you right now to go in your phone, in your notes section, and find at least one thing you can do. At least one thing. Like, this podcast is another thing that I'm doing. I did my YouTube. Like, I want to do this now. Right? Do it. Seriously. How many times are we going to be so passive about these things? But yeah, I think it's super important to actually move forward, is to be intentional and to stop letting fear consume you and keep you back and no longer propel you to what you're supposed to be doing. We can't do that no more. In relationships and our goals and yeah, like I was saying, to helping with other people, that's definitely a cop-out when every time it's time for you to work on your own thing. So definitely work on yours. And also, this is one of the biggest things I've learned. Like, you got to build trust with yourself. Like, you have got to build trust with yourself. How many times have you told yourself, I'm going to start doing this, or I'm going to do this on this day, and you haven't done it? You don't show up for yourself. Now, there's distrust for yourself. And I think that's one of the things that leads into depression. Personally, I said I was going to do this, but I never did it. So I don't even trust myself. Am I really that good? Am I good enough? Is there anything I can do? Like, I think that's one of the things that spirals us out of control emotionally and mentally, is that we're not trustworthy to ourselves. We hold everybody else accountable. Like, somebody say they're going to do something to you, do something for you, or owe you money. You on it like this. Like, bro, didn't you say you was going to be here? Where you at? But we don't ever check ourselves. Like, everything else is cool. We don't ever check ourselves. When was the last time you checked you? You said no. You said you was going to be there on Friday. You said you was going to start this on Friday. You said you was going to go to the gym tomorrow. You said that you were going to do this meal plan. You said that you were going to apply to that school. You said, what? Like, when was the last time you checked yourself? And it has to become a daily thing, renewing your mind, like getting back in touch with who God created you to be. It's a process. But baby step after baby step after baby step builds so much momentum and allows us to move forward. And I promise you, man, like, it's a good feeling knowing you can trust yourself. Because then there's confidence. Ain't that right, Aaron?
Yes, sir.
Shout out to my boy. Like, then there's confidence. And once you get confident in who you are, who God's created you to be, I'm telling you, generational curse breakers, I'm telling you, like, it's some crazy things that you can accomplish in this world. So yeah, that's my spiel. That's how I feel about living a passive lifestyle. Please don't do it. And if you ever catch yourself becoming more passive, snap back out of it as much as you can. If you find yourself just accepting things just the way that they are, because they've always been this way, snap back out of it. Because I promise you, you're going to live a life that's aimless, and then you end up anywhere, and then you end up missing everything that God has called you to be. So yeah, that's yeah, that's my 2 cents on that topic. That felt good. That felt real good. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, okay. And ain't even one of these, so I think we was good. All right, so now we're gonna play my favorite game. And if y'all know me, I bring these cards everywhere I go. It's called Cards for Connection, and pretty much these are cards that are designed to help conversations go deeper and help you connect with people that have. That they are not a sponsor, by the way. Y'all pray. We're gonna touch and agree for sponsorship, but they're not a sponsor of the podcast at all. But it's Cards for Connection. They have a set that you play like more in a group setting where you can actually interact and talk to people. And they have some that are more individual that you can also play in the group setting. But you can do these by yourselves and you can do this with other people. So let me go ahead and pull one of these bad boys. This game is so dope. All right. Ooh. Ooh. Oh my God, y'all. This is too much. Okay, so I'm gonna show y'all on live. It says, what my heart wants to hear right now is. So what my heart wants to hear right now is. Oh my God. So what my heart wants to hear right now is that you can move forward in uncertainty because God got you. You don't have to know every single step of the way, Jerry. You will be fine. The provision will be there. There are people who are attached to every dream, every goal, every aspiration that God has given you. And you are enough, and you will continue to become and be the man that God has called you to be. You can have a healthy relationship. You can make impact in this world, even if it's one person. Yeah, I believe in you. That's what my heart wanted to hear right now. What does your heart want to hear right now? So if you by yourself, you listen to this, ask yourself that question, do a little reflection. I love this, y'all. Like I be going. This helped me go deep. And if you talking to other people, give it to a friend, ask them this question. Hey, what does your heart want to hear right now? And that brings up a lot of things. Like I just said a lot right now, right? But that brings up a lot of things that may be on someone's heart or on your conscience that you are kind of suppressing in the back of your mind. So let's ask tough questions today, like to yourself, to your friends, to whoever. But I think it's super, super important and it's super healthy to have self-reflection, maybe some meditation time or whatever it is. So now to kind of put a bow on everything, I always like to try and give some type of practical things that we can do to stop living a passive lifestyle and or just on any topic that I spoke about. But to stop living a passive lifestyle, I think one of the first things you have to do is to realize what areas you're being passive in. Like really, really look at those things. And I heard someone say that the most dangerous insecurity is the one that you don't know, right? So what are these things that we are just conditioned to do that we don't really realize we're doing? So seek out what this passive action that you may have been doing is. And then two, like legit develop some type of strategy behind it. So if you want to start something, build a strategy into it. And then once you build the strategy into it, this is what gets me. This helps me so much. I pretty much set up things in my life to be the way I can't fail, or not that I can't fail, that I can't get out of it. For instance, make a financial commitment to something. So, for example, me being here in this studio, I had to pay them money per hour. And I don't just throw money away. So with me doing that, it was accountability. I think the word is accountability. So get some type of accountability behind it. For me, money is a very huge motivating, like, accountability partner. If I pay for something, I'm going to be there. I'm going to do it. So that building accountability with people that you know. So for me, working out, like, I post every day I work out, and I tag my accountability partners as it pertains to working out. So it's almost like if I wake up in the morning and I don't feel like working out, I'll be like, dang, they're going to be looking for me to tag them, huh? I got to do it. Or I start to tell people the goals and the things that I'm doing. So I had this idea for this podcast like a week and a half ago. And I started telling everybody, I'm like, hey, I'm doing a podcast. Hey, I'm doing a podcast. So now I know in the back of my mind, people going to be asking me, hey, Jerry, what's up on that podcast? Even my boy Aaron, my boy right here, this boy has held me accountable. I told him I was going to do a YouTube channel. This boy was on me. He was like, what's up with that YouTube channel? What's up with that YouTube channel? And I was like, bro, just stop. Like, just let me not do it. But no, you got to tell people. So I think accountability, telling people, putting it on social media, doing whatever you got to do to almost force yourself into the room to do it. I think that's super, super important. And then not only just doing that, built in some type of structure so you can continue to do it. Right? So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down payments for like a couple months in advance. So I know if that's down in advance, I got to show up. So now I know I'm shooting a couple podcasts a couple times a week. At least one time a week, I'm going to be shooting something. So it's locked in. It's not like I didn't do the podcast. I did the podcast because I made the commitment for the long term, because I think consistency is one of the most important factors to you being successful in anything that you will ever do. So find a way to build in consistency and rock that boy out and just be obedient to what God has called you to be. And I think we're going to do it. But stop living a passive lifestyle. Real T. That's real. So this podcast is sponsored by Jesus. If you are looking for salvation, find him. Hit him up. Until we get any other sponsors, he's going to continue to rock it out with us. I appreciate, shout out to my boy Aaron for holding it down in the studio with me. And also, shout out to my link, Sammy. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. My sister's birthday was yesterday. Love you, Ashley. She's not going to watch this. She's not on social media. But yeah, that concludes the second episode of Destiny Moments, man. I look forward to doing more with y'all. After I post this, y'all can comment, ask me questions. If you want to hear about a particular topic that you want me to rant about, talk about, research, whatever, offer my thoughts to, let me know. Hit me up, slide my DMs, whatever it is, and we're going to make it happen. I love y'all. Y'all be blessed. Don't be passive. Peace. That felt good, bro.